Anna here, day 3 of not being at nationals, and I'm doing what I can to deal with the deprivation and still get somewhat close to the conference experience. I decided to wear, just for right now, my conference badge from Let Your Imagination Take Flight this past spring. I have my Capital Region Romance Writer pin. I think that's really fun. And my favorite part of the badge is this red heart, which means I'm a published author. Now, I don't go to these signings because my titles are currently in electronic release only. That will change, hopefully. And one of the questions I get asked is, what period do you write? And I don't really have an answer for that because I like a lot of different periods. My first book, My Outcast Heart, was set in 1720 New York because I grew up in the beautiful colonial town of Bedford, New York, which is steeped in history everywhere, and I always wanted to set a book there. My second book, Never Too Late, is set in the turn of the 20th century, England and Italy, because I like to move around. Queen of the Ocean is set in 16th century Cornwall with a Spanish hero and an English heroine. And Orphans in the Storm, which is my most recent release a little while back, is set at the end of the English Civil War and the very beginning of the Restoration. What I'm currently working on, Her Last First Kiss, is a Georgian story. It's set in the early 1780s, right after the tail end of the American Revolution, or War for Independence, depending on whose side you're on. Another project that's making the rounds is currently called Ravenwood. The title will probably change, and that is my post-apocalyptic medieval story, because I was reading a copy of Romantic Times a couple of years back, and there were two articles that caught my attention. One was on writing medieval romances, and one was on writing post-apocalyptic romances, and I love both of those, so I thought, why don't I make them have story babies? And that's where Ravenwood came about. That's treating the end of the bubonic plague like an apocalypse, because to the people who lived at the time, that's what it looked like. So that story's going to be out in some form soon. And what I'm doing right now is grounding myself in Georgian England, which seems to be my default at the moment, although I love a lot of other periods. I love basically anything from the end of the Wars of the Roses to the end of the American Revolution. And then I make a giant skip right up to the Edwardians. I think I was born without the 19th century gene. Last year I tried to write a Regency. It did not go well. I still love the story though, so I'm going to try it again as a Georgian later. But for right now, I'm very happy in the Georgian age, but at different points in it. So we're going to see what happens. I naturally think in standalone stories anyway. That's just how my brain works, which makes it a challenge when the market really heavily favors series. But that only gives me a chance to be creative. My favorite type of series is generational, which would be like the hero and heroine of book 1 are the parents of hero or heroine of book 2, or the parents of hero or heroine of book 3, and so on. Anything with a family evolving over time, political affiliations, or natural disasters, especially if I can have a giant house or country estate that is a character in itself. That's the dream. I love that kind of stuff. But for right now, I am working on the Georgian, and my most pressing research question right now is how long does it take to get from London to Gretna Green by horse and carriage? And I know it's out there somewhere, so that's going to be my research for the day. I am plotting with Scrivener and having a lovely time getting to know my hero and heroine better. The more time I spend with them, the better it goes. So really, if I were at the conference, I would probably want to sneak away and write a lot. So in that case, it's not so bad. So home is good for today, and I will see you guys all tomorrow. Bye.